Hi, this is Moby. Welcome to the Fire Show. A few weeks ago, I started jumping into the YouTube videos of my friend Sujan Patel, an Austin-based entrepreneur and growth hacker. I offered to help with his YouTube by being the other guy in his videos about scaling businesses, marketing tactics, and discussions about entrepreneurship. This is the audio from a recent video that we did about what to ask marketing consultants. And I decided to put this up on the podcast because it's a great follow-up to the last week's episode, How Marketing Consultants Work, with Melissa Hoosman. So, check it out, enjoy, and I hope you get some value in terms of making sure you're investing your money in the right agency or consultant to get the most results for your business. As always, this is Moby. Enjoy. Hi, this is Moby, and this is...
What's up? It's Sujan.
And today we're going to be talking about the questions you need to ask before hiring a marketing agency. How do you figure out if they're worth the price that you're paying for an agency or a consultant? So let's just start with how you start looking for one. If I want a consultant or a marketing agency, how do I even start looking for someone that I know is good and I can trust?
Yeah. So look, I start by looking for content on the problems I'm trying to solve. So let's say you are looking for you have a conversion rate problem and you need to probably hire a CRO. So go read content. I go to Kissmetrics, go look at the CRO blogs, look for guest bloggers, and go find the people who have written on similar problems or a business model that you're in, and see if they're up for consulting. Most of the time, people are writing guest posts or are trying to do it for exposure. So they were using to build their brand. So go ping those guys, see if they're fit. Go on clarity.fm and get an outside consultant. And there's also Cloud Peeps, but Clarity FM is awesome because you can pay by minute and schedule a call for 15-20 minutes with an expert in whatever.
Oh, sweet.
Right?
Okay.
So I'm on Clarity. If somebody has an SEO question or whatever, they just ping me. It's a 15-20 minute question. I go on the call, answer their question. Sometimes they're like, okay, we need more help. Actually, most of the time they need more help, but it helps them get an understanding of what the real problem is. So what they get is an unbiased answer from a consultant on what they should do
To solve their problem. Okay.
And then they go and find that agency, right? There's many agencies. You don't necessarily need to hire somebody in your area. People think you need to hire somebody in your city. You don't really need to. We were in SF for 5 years, my first agency, and we even worked with people in SF, and we very rarely met, like maybe once a quarter, once every 6 months. I remember one time I actually had a client in SF, probably like 4 blocks away, and I met him for the first time last weekend.
Oh, wow.
10 years later.
That's a long time.
So you don't need to be in the same area.
So when you do start looking for these people over here, when you start engaging, what questions do you ask? Once I have a list of 10, 20 people I might want to engage with.
So first and foremost, you don't want to go do an RFP, because if you do...
What's an RFP?
Request for proposal.
Okay.
Meaning you put all the things, the requirements you want, and then you send them a document, because then you just get a bunch of proposals. Okay. And the thing is, when you get a bunch of proposals, everything sounds great on paper.
Yes.
Everybody can talk the talk, or like, okay, you talking to the talk, you may weed out 4 or 5 people that can't even talk the talk. But the hard part is, can they actually execute? Yep. So when you have to figure out, like, let's say you found some people, first and foremost is getting on the phone with them.
Yeah.
And asking them, like, hey, how do you work with companies? You need to make sure, one, they fit your working style. Can your team work with that agency? What do you need? Do you want monthly check-ins, weekly check-ins? What do you need to make it successful on your end? Most of the time, you're going to need to do work yourself to actually implement and make things work. Okay. So you want to make sure you talk to them. Sometimes that's interviewing the marketing person or the team. Number 2 is you need to make sure you know who's going to be working on your campaign. A lot of big agencies and a lot of big names, I won't name any names here, but they have a big influencer, or there's a big brand that they've worked with Coca-Cola and blah, 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 all these big fancy name companies. But the person who works on your account or your campaign is somebody right out of college.
Yes.
That's a red flag. Do not work with agencies that you're going to get an intern working on your stuff, or essentially the person that is selling or the brand isn't involved.
Okay.
And you don't also need to look for people who have worked with big brands. You need to look for people who have worked with your business model. So another question to ask is, have they worked, let's say you're an e-commerce business and you're doing $3 million in revenue and you're an outdoors brand.
Yes.
Well, you want to make sure you get an agency that's worked with an e-commerce business that's between $1 and $10 million in annual revenue, and that hopefully has any outdoor experience.
Yeah.
If they work with a $100 million agency, $100 million e-commerce business, that's a different problem. They may not be the greatest fit for you. So look at your business model and your size, and then also your resources. If you're a one-man shop internally, you probably don't want to work with a company who's going to require you to do a lot of stuff.
Yes. Okay.
So you want to supplement your efforts.
So how do you test for bullshit?
Yeah.
How do you know they're good or bad at what they do?
That's the ultimate thing. Once
Yes.
you've figured out that you can work with them, you've weeded out maybe most of them, you have 2 or 3 people, is to make sure that you talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Are they looking? Okay, so first and foremost, when you weed out these for bullshit, that you do the bullshit test,
Mm-hmm.
have they asked for analytics? Have you dealt with anyone besides the sales guy in this process? Is there even a sales guy? If there's not, great. So if you've not dealt with somebody besides a salesperson, that's a bad sign.
Okay.
The reason being is that, like, and again, depends on what the size of the company you are, but most of the time, you need a marketer to actually look at this to know exactly what to do. Did they quote you on things to do that may not be the channels you're working on? Do they know? Does the agency or consultant you know that you're working with or potentially working with know the channels that you're growing? Have they asked you for analytics? Have they taken a look at your analytics? Have they looked at your stuff? And do they know what channels are working for you? If they don't know this detail and you're at this final stage of selection, it's probably that they haven't done enough work. And I can tell you, marketing is really fucking hard. Bleep that out, I guess, or not, whatever. It's really hard, even when you have all the right pieces,
Yes.
all the right things, and you can get into a situation that you just, all the right things just don't happen. So just to make sure that they look at your analytics, they've done their due diligence. Yeah. For example, when my agency talks to customers or clients, we're interviewing them to see if they're a good fit, just as they are us. And not saying like you have to hire us or whatever. You can hire whoever fits your model. And, we just lost a deal because somebody needed help with something that we just don't have expertise in. So make sure that they have expertise in the channels you need help with. It's very, very important.
And they give you a customized approach for what you want to accomplish with your business.
And last 2 things here on the BS test, that they've helped somebody that's similar to your business and size.
Okay.
And ideally you want to talk to that person or see a case study like that from deals like that.
Okay.
You also want to, if they don't have case studies, because let's face it, not every agency consultant has dozens of case studies. In fact, that might be a bad sign too. But ask them, hey, tell me about this. Just don't even ask for a case study. Hey, tell me about a company you've helped that's in B2B SaaS enterprise sales. If you were to ask me, if you're potentially hiring me, I would say, we work with this company, and this company, or here's company 1, here's their problems, here's what we did. We roughly did this. I might not be able to send them a case study because of an NDA or whatever, but I can tell them a generic company name and explain to them the problem.
So watch for examples.
Look for examples. Look for examples and specifics of them taking action.
Absolutely. Because marketing is an investment, and if you put money in the wrong agency or consultant, you're screwed. This was Sujan and Moby talking about what to ask marketing consultants or agencies before hiring them. Thank you. And leave some comments and ask some questions.
And or send us vials of hair or blood.
Or blood.
Whatever.
Halloween is a long time away, but do it. Thanks.